Hello, welcome to Research Designs. Now, there's three types of designs we're going to look at: independent groups, repeated measures, and matched pairs. Now, students do sometimes get confused between research methods and research designs. So methods, the experimental methods are lab, field, natural, quasi. Non-experimental methods are things like case study, observation, correlation, interviews, self-report methods. Whereas designs are independent groups, matched pairs, and repeated measures. So independent group design is where you've got separate groups of participants doing separate conditions. So because you've got separate groups doing separate conditions, that means there are no demand characteristics because people don't know what the other condition's about. There's also no order effects, which are things like boredom effect, fatigue, carryover effect. They're typically what you get in a repeated measures design. The downside is you might need more participants and you will more likely get individual differences between the participants. So some examples of independent group design is memory retention, where you've got group A using flashcards, while in group B uses digital apps, and the participant only does one condition. So it's independent groups. Okay, the next type of design is repeated measures. So this is where you've got one group of participants and they do condition A followed by condition B, or the other way around. So sometimes they use what's called ABBA, ABBA. So participant 1 does condition A followed by B, participant 2 does condition B followed by A. That's called counterbalancing or randomization. So repeated measures is where you've got one group and you do both conditions. Downside is that you get order effects. So people can get boredom effect, carryover effect, fatigue effect. They can also improve and get better. And they can also guess the nature of the study. So to get around that, you use counterbalancing or randomization, where you assign participant 1 to condition A followed by B, participant 2 goes condition B followed by A, and that's called ABBA. And an advantage of this design is that it kind of eliminates individual differences because you're comparing the same person against themselves. The third type of design is matched pairs. So this is typically things like monozygotic twins, or where you match participants on certain traits. So you're trying to eliminate individual differences as much as possible. So this design has one group doing one condition, a separate group doing a separate condition, but the participants in each group are matched. So you're kind of reducing those individual differences. That's an advantage. So a downside is that it's probably quite hard to find twins and quite time consuming to match people. And if one person drops out, you're going to lose the other participant as well. So some examples of this is if you're studying the impacts of, say, therapy, you might use a matched pairs design based on age and symptoms, and that ensures that you can then compare across treatment conditions. So there's three types of designs: independent groups, matched pairs, and repeated measures design. And these are how you allocate the participants to the conditions. So the experimental methods are lab, field, natural, and quasi. The non-experimental methods are things like case study, correlation, interview, observation, questionnaires. Designs are independent groups, repeated measures, and matched pairs. So it's always good to get that clear distinction between research methods and research designs, because students do tend to get a bit confused on that. So a different video, I'll be doing a video on the experimental methods and non-experimental methods. So you can look out for that one in the YouTube channel.